So what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to just do a quick follow-up. I got back from a trip, went to Memphis, Tennessee to attend an event Demonology and Donk Masters put together. I towed down my car, and I have two trucks. I have a half-ton and I have a one-ton truck, and I was very close to using my half-ton because I wanted to see how well it did. Now, the only reason why I didn't do it was because these U-Haul trailers do not have trailer brakes, and I didn't feel comfortable towing a $80,000 car down on a truck that's just not already set up well to tow a trailer. So I decided to use my one-ton, and there's three things I wanted to go over in this video of why I would definitely choose a bigger truck, and I'm going to go over that with you in this video. So let's get started. But the very first thing I would consider, and I know this might seem pretty obvious, but I would consider a diesel engine. And although the half-ton segment does have diesel engine options, they do not typically offer a diesel exhaust brake. And right now, like, my diesel exhaust brake's on, you probably can hear it. A diesel exhaust brake is basically a restriction inside of the exhaust system, and what happens is when it closes, it creates back pressure. So in that case, it's going to reduce the speed of your vehicle, typically a heavy-duty truck or 18-wheeler. Now, Ram does give you two systems. They give you a full exhaust, which is basically going to allow you to use it as soon as you take your foot off the gas pedal. It comes on, it just gives you that restriction in the exhaust system. And then you have automatic. Automatic comes on when you tap the brakes, so it doesn't use necessarily any braking from the braking system. It just turns the system on for you. That way you don't have to have it come on as soon as you take your foot off the gas, because it's going to obviously slow you down, which is going to reduce your fuel economy. Now, this trailer, as I mentioned, did not have trailer brakes. Typically with U-Haul, I don't believe they really offer that on their trailers, and that was just something that was important to me and why I didn't use my half-ton, because I really wanted to make sure if anything were to go wrong, I had as much protection to stop this truck if I need to. Now, just to give you perspective, this is how big the caliper is on my 1500 in the front, and then this is the back of it here. So it's not a big caliper. See if I can give you a better look at it. Can't really see it, but that should give you a pretty good perspective of how big the caliper is on this truck. It's not that big. Now let me show you what it is on my 3500. Now check out how big it is on my 3500. Significantly bigger. And when you go out back, significantly bigger too. Check that out. Look how big that caliper is just in the rear. They're almost the same size as the front ones. But yeah, you just have bigger brakes. The rotors are probably similar size, but you just have a bigger brake caliper. The second reason why I chose this truck was suspension and frame. Now, as you guys know, if you look at the frame on a half-ton truck and then you look at a frame on a heavy-duty truck, I mean, there's such a huge difference in the size and just the overall structure. And that's something to be said about the Ram brand too, is that their heavy-duty trucks are built to tow. The half-ton trucks are built to tow light trailers and tow not as often, but you can obviously tow with those trucks, you know, more frequently than even someone with a heavy-duty truck. But my point is, this truck is set up, that I'm in right now, to tow a heavy trailer and do it continuously. And that's because of the frame. That's because of the suspension. Now, on one-ton trucks, you do have leaf springs on the single rear wheels. Now, if you look at a 3/4 ton, they do use a 5-link coil suspension, but it's still more robust than what you see on a half-ton truck. And I've noticed too, in a lot of cases on my half-ton, where if you jump up and down in the back of the bed, I mean, that truck, it bounces, because that truck is not geared towards towing a big trailer. It's really geared to just being a cruising truck. And I mean, there is an air suspension option, which I would strongly recommend if you are in the market for that truck and you want to tow a trailer. I would strongly recommend getting that set up, because at the very least, it's going to be able to stiffen up and level out your ride. But even with this car on this trailer, it's not giving me a lot of pin weight. I bet you it's probably not much more than 800 pounds, maybe close to 1,000, maybe. But it didn't really level the truck out. I mean, I can feel the trailer back there when I go over like imperfections in the road, but the trailer doesn't dance around. The trailer doesn't pull the truck, which leads me into my next point. One thing you have to consider when you are towing a trailer, like today and last night, it was 25, 30 mile an hour winds. And right now it's pretty windy. I can feel the wind pushing my truck. Now I have the car back there, and I'm pretty sure you guys can see it in the camera too. But because of that wind, it's pushing the car on the trailer around, and it's pushing the truck around. This truck, from the factory, weighs over 8,000 pounds. I mean, this is a heavy truck. And with only having 5,000 or 6,000 pounds behind me, it doesn't move my truck around. And that's why I bought this truck. I bought this truck because it's so heavy, it's robust. I mean, I have a fifth wheel too, obviously, but it's just a heavy truck, and it's really built to handle any kind of job. And if I were to use my half-ton truck, I would be white-knuckled, and I would be a little bit more cautious. I'd be going 55 or 60 miles an hour. And that's actually another good point too, is, you know, because of the weight difference, you have to slow down. I mean, I could go 80 miles an hour, you know, down the highway with this setup with my truck right now, because I have so much control over this trailer. My diesel exhaust brake helps to slow my truck down. And having this weight allows for this trailer to be in control at all times. This trailer and car together are probably about the same weight as my 1500, and like I said, I don't feel comfortable towing it, because I want to make sure that I don't damage my property or damage U-Haul's property. So, you know, ultimately for me, I like the idea of using these type of trucks for these jobs, even if it's a small job like this. And like I said, it's just something to consider. If you are in the market for a truck, consider a bigger truck. I mean, even a few videos I've done on 1500s, they have 1,000 pounds of payload. You're looking at 5,000, 6,000 pound trailers. And whenever a dealer options out a truck with every single option, that is a negative, because that truck becomes like a car, because it has no capacity. I've seen Dodge Durangos have more capacity than Ram, you know, 1500 trucks that have 392 axles, have eTorque, and set up to tow 12,000. Well, with all the extra added weight to the truck, it's not going to tow as much, but still able to tow over 10,000 pounds. And a Durango can't tow that much. I mean, a Durango can only really tow about 6,000 or 7,000 pounds, depending on which model you get. So just keep that in mind. I mean, if you get a truck, just because it has a high towing capacity, once you start adding all the bells and whistles to the truck, you really do limit the amount of trailer you can tow. So just always keep that in the back of your mind when you're looking at trucks. That's why I always show you the payloads and the axle ratings of every truck, because I want you to get a good idea of what those numbers mean. If I don't explain it to you, I'm kind of telling you, you should just go do the research yourself. Like, what is a gross axle weight rating on a truck? What is a gross vehicle weight rating? A GVWR, GAWR? What do these things really mean? And if I don't tell you what it is in the video, you should go look it up. You should go find out what those things are. If I show you the payload, what is a payload? You're not supposed to exceed that number. A lot of people online say, well, that's just for commercial use. Okay, well, on the door sticker, it says do not exceed. And if you're exceeding that, what are you doing? You're going against what the manufacturer says, which means you're not doing the right thing. So I would strongly recommend, you know, if you have insurance on your truck, keep these things in the back of your mind. All right, so there's one thing I wanted to mention. This is basically the last point. I forgot to say it in the video, but fuel mileage is another factor. Now, I've never towed with a half-ton diesel before, but majority of the trucks that are being bought are gas, so I'm going to compare a gas truck. I've towed with a Ford F-150, and I got an 8.7 MPG. It's like about 5,000 pounds. And one thing I recorded on this trip, I went 289 miles, almost 290 miles. The computer was saying 12.8, and when I looked at the pump, it was 12.5, I think, rounded off, 12.4 and some change. And so that's just something to consider too, is, I mean, for only 7,500 pounds, you didn't know the trailer was back there, and the truck got pretty good fuel economy. I mean, unloaded, that truck is about 16 to 18. And if you're on the highway doing about 75 miles an hour or less, it'll get about 19 to 20. So just keep that in mind too. Last thing I'll mention is I was gonna hook up the U-Haul trailer to my 1500, but I ran out of time. I didn't have a 2-inch hitch to fit in my class 4 receiving hitch for that truck, so I did buy one. I did order another trailer. It got here early, so stay tuned. Maybe within a week or two I'll post some footage of that, and I'll hook up my 3500 and my 1500 just to give you some comparisons on that. So stay tuned. It's a big trailer too. It's 8.5 by 28 cargo or race trailer, whatever you want to call it. It's really nice too. Can't wait to show it to you guys. So let's get back to the video. I have 2 videos that I did do with Mikey P's Mallard RV, which is a travel trailer. I towed it with this truck. I towed it with my 1500. I'll link those videos at the end of this one. So stay tuned, watch those 2 videos, and that way you have a better idea of how much pin weight, or tongue weight I should say, was put on both trucks, because it was about the same weight on both runs that I did at different times. But nevertheless, thank you so much for watching this video. As I said, I did order a new trailer. Should be here in December. It's gonna be really nice, guys. I cannot wait to show it to you. I've learned a lot. It's gonna be a cargo trailer. It's gonna be like a race car trailer, basically. 28 foot, 8.5 wide, has a lot of options on it, and it's still under $20,000. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys, and be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.